Hello Mallards! Today is Saturday and it was my day off from working at Fringe, which means I had the opportunity to see a lot more shows. So I got tickets to see, it was the day that I could squeeze in a bunch of shows that my friends are in. So the first show I went to see was Queer Up, which was Natalie's cabaret show. And I'm actually going to use both of these pieces of art. So this is Love 1 and Love 2, both by Mark Snedeker? Mark Snedeker. We're gonna go with Snedeker. And I've chosen these because it is a show about being queer and being in love, and I like the color blocking on these, and I think it really just exemplifies the happiness that was Queer Up. The cabaret show is Natalie's life story, essentially. It's her discovering what it meant for her to be a lesbian and her own gender identity as well, and just going through her life and everything that she dealt with in order to get where she is. And it was a really heartwarming story, and it's really funny, and the songs are so good, and so are the harmonies. And if you are at all queer, or you know queer people, and you probably fit in the alphabet mafia somewhere at some point, you should definitely see the show. Link down there to the show, and of course the pretty art. The next show I had a chance to see was called Life Goes On, and it was a new musical at the Wren. And the piece of art that I've chosen is Mundi, or Our World, by Hannah Butler. And it's this beautiful piece right here that sort of shows these two lovers. And I picked that because Life Goes On was a little bit about lovers. It follows the story of this guy in New York who's essentially doing the same routine over and over and over and over, and hasn't quite figured out what he wants his life to be in the wake of the death of his brother. And it's clear that a lot of things have been weighing on him, and instead of handling stuff, he's just been saying, I'm fine, it's all fine. Until suddenly it isn't. And the music in it is very catchy and very beautiful, and the story is like nice and comforting, and I think it's well portrayed. And there are several scenes with him and his on again, off again boyfriend throughout the story that I feel like this particular portrait exemplifies kind of the energy in between them, and the fact that they still love each other, but they realize that it's perhaps not working. Links down there to get tickets. The next thing I did was go to City Arts, where I was doing a pop-up for most of the day for the waiting room. And while I was there, I also saw DK show, which has the longest title of any show this year. DK Does Movie, an improvised, make-em-up, cinematic film experience performed live on stage in front of audience people. And the piece of art I've chosen, I'm again doing a 2-for-1. That seems to be the deal. We have Hit Play and Silly Songs, both by FiggyVee, and they are VHSs with these like paper cutouts in them that are like scenes from what they are. So look at these VeggieTales. The ultimate silly song countdown. I would watch this VHS actually. And we made a movie about rats. It was called Brats, about bratty rats it was an action film where they were taking down an exterminator. And I got to be part of the action. I was a videographer, I was an extra, I was part of the bunch of rats that formed themselves into a human. It was a great time. Your experience will be completely different from mine because they improvise something new every time. But you can definitely check it out at City Arts. Link down there to both this lovely art and to the show. The next show I saw was Quill and Thread's Excellent Journey, and the piece of art I have chosen is Untitled 2 by Leslie D. Brooks Jones. And it's like a mixed media piece, and it's got this sort of dirt quality. And the reason I chose it is because they play outside in the circle under the trees in the dirt there. And there also wasn't any piece of art that was particularly sword wielding this year, which is interesting because often there are pieces with swords, daggers, weaponry of some sort, but this year there was not, so I've chosen the one that looks like the ground they fought upon. Quill and Thread's Excellent Journey is a sword fighting Bill and Ted-esque show where Quill and Thread travel through literature to learn how to fight from some of the greatest swords people in fantasy. So they meet several incredible swords masters and have a lot of fun learning so that they can eventually vanquish their final villain and save Fringe. And it's really funny, and you get to suspend disbelief. The fights are really good, and you'll just have an enjoyable time. It is a 40-minute show out on the lawn. Please go support Site Specific. Their shows are Saturday and Sunday, and they're just so fun for people of all ages. So take your kids, take your grandparents, take a stranger from the bus, and go see Quill and Thread's Excellent Journey. Link down there to tickets and the art. The last thing that I did was a silent disco at City Arts, and I was planning to maybe take video, but then we ended up using my phone as one of the devices. So I didn't take any video, but I did have a ton of fun. The waiting room also went fantastically, so links down there to tickets for everything and also to all of the art, and I will see you tomorrow.